Okay then, so I've got a brand new setup guide for you today. This is mGalaxy frontend, and this is for Windows PC. If you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. That just means you'll get notified every time I release a new setup guide, which is virtually every day, and it also helps my channel out. So we're looking at mGalaxy then today. So it's a lot like Launchbox in some ways, and in some ways it's a little bit easier. There's two versions of this. We got a free version and we got a premium version. So like I said, similarities there to Launchbox, big box. So what we're going to do first to set this up is actually download mGalaxy. I'll leave the links in my description for this. And if we just go over to the premium section here, what it's going to allow you to do is get very cool themes. And of course, front ends like this are pretty much designed for that eye candy situation. So what we're going to do then is actually download it first. Like I say, I'll leave the links in my description and you can have a browse through this. If we just scroll down, as we can see, this is fully compatible with Mac OS, Windows operating systems too. We're going to go for the Windows version today. So download, and just let that download. Now something else we're going to use within mGalaxy is RetroArch to power our games. So I'm going to download a portable version of RetroArch. If we just go to download, and once we're in download, we're going to just scroll down and we're going to find download 64-bit. This is the portable version of RetroArch that we need. Just close that down. So we're going to let those download. Now something else we are going to need once we're inside of mGalaxy is to scrape games and cover art, preview videos, that type of thing. Screen Scraper is absolutely free and you can sign up with it. Now if you do come across Screen Scraper and you notice that it's in French, then just translate your Google page or whatever web browser you're using. So that's about it for now. So what we need to do then is actually start setting things up. So for this setup guide, I'm going to be using some Sega Mega Drive games, and these are in .md file extension. Reason being is because particular cores within RetroArch only accepts particular file extensions. For example, I'm going to be using Pico Drive today, Pico Drive that is, and it doesn't accept .zip files, zip folders. So for that reason, I'm using .md. Now, if you're planning on using several different systems within mGalaxy and you're using RetroArch, it's worth checking out the RetroArch wiki so you can see exactly what file extensions each core needs, as well as provide you with BIOS information for RetroArch too. So here we go, we got RetroArch. What we're going to do is just extract this one. Okay, so that's RetroArch now extracted. We can now delete that archive. So just delete that, we no longer need it. What I'm going to do next is set up mGalaxy itself. So I've got a setup just here, which I've just downloaded from the mGalaxy website. So please select a language. Obviously we got various different languages here to use. Select what's most appropriate for you. I'm going to select English, press OK. And next. And I agree through their license agreement, and next again. And what mGalaxy tells us on their website is that this is actually fully portable. So say you've got a USB stick and you want to take it elsewhere to a friend or family's house, then by just putting this onto a USB stick, by setting the destination folder, everything's self-contained. But I'm not going to do that today. Instead, I'm going to create a new shortcut on my desktop. So right click, new. And I'm going to just call this mGalaxy, and what I'm going to do is just install it here. So in a sense, this is portable. So we're going to go to Browse and Desktop, and I'm going to just find that mGalaxy folder on my desktop, which I've just created. Left click, OK, and install. OK, so we're going to uncheck Start mGalaxy Runaway and just go to Finish. So you're going to notice on your desktop we got mGalaxy and we got a program here called mGalaxy Runaway. Let me just delete that setup. So mGalaxy opens up the front end itself, and mGalaxy Runaway is the application we use in order to configure emulators and put your games into place, that type of thing. Before we go into that, we need to set up RetroArch. If we go into RetroArch, we're going to just drop down until we find retroarch.exe. If we open this, Now I'm using a Google Stadia controller for this. So what I'm going to do first is just make sure RetroArch opens up in a full screen when we launch this through mGalaxy. So we're going to go down to settings and just go across, go down to video. And from here, we're going to just drop down to full screen mode. Full screen mode, I need to enable this. Okay, so as we can see, this is now swapped over to full screen mode. And whilst we're here, what we're going to do is download a core. So a core, if you're unaware, is kind of like a mini emulator which works exclusively with RetroArch. So to download these cores, from main menu, we're just going to drop down to online updater. Enter this, I'm pressing A on my controller. Core downloader, I'm going to press A. Everything you see here is all the systems that RetroArch supports. Now, if you're using RetroArch on a different platform and you don't see particular systems, RetroArch has different versions for different platforms. Generally, the Windows version has the most cores on it. So anyways, we're going to look for Pico Drive, which is obviously Sega Mega Drive. If we just go down, Sega, Master System, Game Gear, Mega Drive, Sega CD, Sega 32X. If I press A to download this, core installed, and we've now got a hashtag, which means it's fully installed within RetroArch. If I press my B button to come out, and out again, we're just going to go down to configuration file, press A, and save current configuration. And if I press my B button to come out, and that's all we need for now. So what I do recommend doing with RetroArch, just to make things a bit more neat, is just dragging RetroArch into your mGalaxy folder so everything's all together. And you might even consider creating a ROMs folder within your mGalaxy folder. So new ROMs. Now, in the ROMs folder I just created, I'm going to just drag and drop my Mega Drive games folder inside, which has several .md files like you've seen a minute ago. Okay, so what we're going to do next then is launch mGalaxy Runaway. Just double left click on that exe. Okay, so as it says just here, once we're inside of Runaway, to start, create your first system, drag and drop a system from the left. So if we just scroll down, we got things in category here: arcade, computer, console. Now Sega Mega Drive isn't actually listed here, so we're going to choose Sega Genesis instead. If we just drop that over into the user systems. Now at the top here, we're going to find application. We then can search for that RetroArch Pico Drive core. So if I just go down and select RetroArch Pico Drive, the path to RetroArch is either not defined or invalid. Would you like to define it now? Yes. Okay, so from here what we need to do is just left click on application, and we're going to go into that mGalaxy folder, and we're going to find the RetroArch folder here we dragged in. If we just scroll down, double left click on the retroarch.exe, and this is now put into the path. Okay, so next up what we're going to do is just go to save. Next up, we're going to just go over to DB Update, left click on that one. Now this is why you need to sign up with Screen Scraper. So under server just here, we got Screen Scraper. We also got emumovies, but we're going to look at Screen Scraper. Just pop in your username and password into this section. Back over to systems, and we got our Sega Genesis set up just here. Just make sure enabled is actually checked, otherwise it's not going to display when we open up mGalaxy. So we got application, Pico Drive, that's set up. Next thing we need to do is connect this where our games are for Mega Drive or Sega Genesis. If I left click on ROMs, I'm then going to go to my mGalaxy folder, which is on my desktop, and into my ROMs folder, Mega Drive games, left click, OK. Now the next thing we need to do is create some directories for our artwork to be scraped into. So what we're going to do is first of all go to the mGalaxy folder again, and I'm going to create a new folder in here and just call this art. And within art, I'm going to right click, new folder, and just call this Mega Drive or Genesis. Okay. Now within that Mega Drive folder, we're going to create some more folders. So we need to create a folder for each one of these categories. So I'm going to start off with screenshots. And then we've also got videos to add. Covers. Logos. Media. And finally we got arts. Okay, so we're going to go back over to mGalaxy Runaway, and what we're going to do is just link these up with those folders that we just created in the art Mega Drive folder. So when we're scraping artwork from Screen Scraper, it knows where to put it. So what I'm going to do this is just work from the top downwards. If I go to screenshots, easiest way to do this is go into your search bar and right click in, copy, screenshots, right click, paste. And we're going to come out and do the same for videos. So at the search bar at the top, just make sure that's highlighted, right click on it, copy, and videos. And next up we've got covers. So again, just go to that search bar, right click, copy, covers, and I'm pressing Ctrl and V together to paste that in. Obviously we've got logos. So a little bit tedious, but it'll be worth it in the end. Next up we got media. And finally we've got the arts. So go into arts and right click and copy and Ctrl and V to paste. Cool. So just go down to save. So we've got all the artwork folders put into place. So if we go back up to DB update, now from here at the top data media, we can choose to scrape whatever we want, and just bear in mind particular media or artwork that you scrape will only likely be displayed within the premium version of mGalaxy. So for now I'm going to just leave all of these checked. Screen Scraper is going to be our server to scrape our artwork. Username and passwords have been entered in order to use Screen Scraper. Preferred region, so we got United States, and we can also select alternative region. So I'm going to just select Europe so we can download USA games and Europe games or European games. And all I need to do now is just update my games. And then we're going to go down to update every games, left click. So as you can see, it's now downloading cover art, preview videos, and everything else. Okay, and we're going to go to OK after database has been saved. Just going to give you a bit of clarification of what's been updated, and we're going to go to OK. Now, if you're using two screens for mGalaxy, if we just go to miscellaneous, just go to output screen, and you'll find your external screen displayed just here. For me, because I'm using a single screen, it just comes up this display one. And whilst we're here, we can also change to original. That's going to just make Runaway look light. I'm going to keep this to dark. And next up, we're going to launch mGalaxy. So mGalaxy. Here we go. Okay, so let's launch one of these games. Let's go for Streets of Rage 2. If I just press my A button, this is now going to open up RetroArch, which we've connected to mGalaxy. Okay, so for those of you new to RetroArch, we can press F1 key on the keyboard, and this is going to bring up the RetroArch quick menu. From here, we can go down to Save States, and Save State. And if I go back into the RetroArch quick menu and drop down one to load state, and back into RetroArch quick menu, this time we're going to actually funk up how the game looks. So from main menu, I'm going to go down to online updater, and from here I'm going to just drop down to update overlays. I'm also going to update slang shaders, and I'm pressing A on my Google Stadia controller to install these. And as we can see, it's now extracting these packages, which is good. Okay, so now that's finished, what we're going to do is just go to update core info files and update assets. And if I press B to come out of here, what I'm going to do next is from main menu, quick menu. From here, I'm going to just scroll down until I see on-screen overlay. And if I just press A on this, display overlay, I'm going to enable this by pressing A. Overlay preset, press A. And borders, again, press A. Mega Drive animated border, press A. And A again on Mega Drive animated border.cfg. Now we also got an option here called overlay opacity. What I'm going to do is leave that for now and come back out into my game, quick menu, resume. And as you can see, that's now put Mega Drive panels or Sega Genesis panels on the sides. Those are called overlays. Okay, so we're talking about opacity. If we go back to on-screen overlay and go to overlay opacity, if I whack this up as far as it goes, you'll notice just a minute ago with those overlays that they're slightly transparent. If we put this onto 1.00 and go back into the game, and as you can see on the overlays, that transparency has now disappeared and they're more solid. Other things we can do is actually change video settings. We just go to settings, video, scaling. We can change the aspect ratio too. Now, for now it's on core provided. If I put this onto full, which tells us it's full screen, it's going to go to full screen, but the trouble is we've got those overlays in place, and of course that's going to block the full screen view. So if you're using full screen, we just need to go to main menu, quick menu, and we're going to go down to on-screen overlay and disable display overlay. Just press A, off, go back into the game, quick menu, resume. As you can see, full screen and those overlays have now disappeared. We can even go further with video settings by just going to settings, video. If we just drop down from video, we're going to go to video filter. From here we can apply filters, which is going to make the games look a little bit different. So if I just drop down and find a filter to use, I'm going to go for something really random just to show you what this does. So let's just go to picoscale. If I go back into the game again, so to be honest, that filter's not done much, or I can't see it anyways. So we're going to try that again. We're going into video. In video filter, we're going to change it a little bit more noticeable. Scan line is likely going to show up a bit better. Back into the game. And as you can see, we've now got scan lines there in place. Again, if we go to main menu, quick menu, this time go down to core options. If I go to manage core options, we got two options here to save settings. If you want those video settings you've applied to go for all Sega Mega Drive games or Sega Genesis using the Pick a Drive core, we then need to go to save content directory options, and regardless of which Mega Drive or Genesis game you open up, those video settings will apply. If we go to save game options, it will literally save those video settings for this game and this game only. I'm going to just go to save content directory options. Okay, next up what we're going to do is take a look at something called shaders, and what we need to do first in order to use shaders, specifically the ones I'm going to be using, is by going to video, output, video, we need to set this to Vulkan. And if we come out, okay, so next up we're going to go to main menu, quick menu, and from here down to shaders, I'm going to turn video shaders on, load a preset, shader slang, and I'm going to show you what this does. Really cool stuff. For example, if I just go down to film, Technicolor, and that's now been applied. If we go back into Streets of Rage, so as you can see there, we got a total B-movie, cigarette burning, gameplay image. It looks pretty cool. If I go back down to shaders again, and back down to load preset, I'm going to use shader slang, and from here, I'm going to just drop down to CRT. And we got loads to play with just here. So let's just put some at random on. We got CRT consumer. If I enable this and go to play the game, and remember, we can also apply those overlays if you're planning on using shaders like this. So to apply the overlay, I'll just go through this again. We're just going to go to quick menu, on-screen overlay, on, and I'm going to just make sure that Mega Drive is turned on. So borders, Mega Drive, and here we go. Cool, I'm going to just show you this final shader we can use. This is super cool, and I think this goes really nicely with Terminator 2, the arcade game. So anyways, to quit outside of RetroArch and go back into mGalaxy, I just press escape on my keyboard and that takes us straight back in. Now I'm just going to let you know, by pressing the start button on my controller, opens up a panel on the left hand side. You've got various configuration settings just here, including putting your own music in place just by going to select and using, say, an MP3 file. And there's various other settings here, but like I said, the premium version of this is likely going to open up more options for us. Anyways, that's it for today's mGalaxy setup guide for Windows PC. So I went on a little bit through RetroArch and getting the perfect video settings, but as we can see, once we've got mGalaxy set up and specifically using RetroArch to power our games, we can really make those old school games look how they're supposed to look. CRT, for example. So anyways, check out my RetroArch playlist so you can get more ideas on what you can actually do on RetroArch. I've got a load of videos in there. Also check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. And also make sure to hit subscribe and notifications so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation guides. Anyways, until next time, stay retro.